Sunglasses hair. Let's try not to run off the road. Put the sunglasses up to cover my sunglasses hair. So, sorry if that was extremely loud. Think back to school days, right? Think back to your school days. What did you do in school? What did you study in school? You studied math, which is theory, right? Mind stuff. You studied science, which is some hands-on stuff. Not a whole lot. In science you would have a lab here and there, but a lot of it was looking at pictures of animals and looking at pictures of forests and so on. You studied social studies, looking at maps, reading, seeing colorful pictures of what other countries are doing for their customs. You studied religion or philosophy, right? Which is pretty much more theory. Philosophy is certainly all theory, just about, and religion is theory that's pretending to be fact. You studied linguistics, or language, or spelling, spellcasting, right? So these are the main components that make up your schooling. For the most part, though, they are left brain, analytical, theoretical, conceptual things. And for the most part, they require going into mind to access the thing you're studying. So looking at a map and imagining another country, right? Doing math. Imagining that you're working with physical objects that are being counted up and tallied, right? Or you're doing science. Unless you're doing a lab, you're imagining space. You're imagining what the insides of anatomy. You're imagining what the insides of a human look like. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't places where you look inside actual humans, because I did it myself. I took an anatomy class, and we had humans that donated their body to the cause, and we were sitting there pulling, them apart. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying for the most part it doesn't happen. For the most part it's theoretical knowledge, non-experiential. Okay? So that's the premise I'm trying to establish for this particular video, is that in our schooling we are mainly, not all, but mainly 90%, 95%, if not more, learning how to use the mental body, right? Physics. Again, aside from lab, physics is a very physical, right, study. But still, you're mainly learning math. You're mainly learning terminology. Again, going to the mental, conceptual overlay of the actual physical world that you should be studying, right? You shouldn't only be paying all this attention to the conceptual overlay. You should be at least half and half, I would assume. But you would have labs every once in a while and hopefully burn some shit up. So yes, you're mainly studying the second second level of the thing itself, or the name, or the numerical attributes of the thing itself. Yes? The thing that you're not studying in school is yourself and your direct experiential relationship with your immediate environment. That's the one thing you're not studying. And it doesn't necessarily require studying anyway. When you're doing that, when you're in that mode, it's more exploration than studying. And this is the thing. This is the actual, to me, this is the biggest problem that we encounter, okay? Look even here. Look at this. This here is a picture of people living in the future. None of these people are present. Again, I use hyperbole a lot. I exaggerate for effect and because that's how we communicate. But none of these guys are being present. Some of them are. I am. I actually don't particularly give a shit where I'm going right at this moment. I'm more focused on making this video. But all these guys here, they're not being present. They're living at the destination already, and they're not yet at the destination. Again, exaggeration, but you get my point. This is why if you take some time, walk outside of your house and just explore your local environment, you will be already separating yourself from the herd, from the 95, the 99%. Already you're separating yourself. Just the fact that you're exploring your local environment. If you take 5 minutes and explore your own body, feel your own body. I'm not saying masturbate. Masturbate if you want, but take 5 minutes and explore your body, you know? If you do that, you're separating yourself from the herd, from the 95, the 99%. None of these guys and girls are doing that. And that's what the society has come to where nobody is present and they're all living in the past or the future, both which are imaginary. The present is imaginary too, but it's less imaginary than the past and the future. So if you explore your local environment, you're being more real than the guys that are constantly only on the linear track and going from point A to point B, even though they're in the middle of point A and point B always. They're never really reaching because point B extends off forever, you never reach it, and point A extends off to the past forever, right? The extension out, forward and backward, are always conceptual. Point B is never reached. Point A was never left from. I know these concepts are kind of hard to wrap the mind around, but it's what people need to be doing. They need to be actually exploring the local environment. And of course, as well, this is not something that, this is advanced. As silly as it sounds, the idea that you should explore your local environment is advanced knowledge. Okay, this is occult knowledge. You might just be laughing at me and saying you're ridiculous. No, I'm not. It's advanced. This is the mystery schools. The idea that you should explore your local environment. Nobody does it. Everyone's on the mental track from point A to point B. And they're not in the local environment, even though it looks like they are. All these people in these cars, it looks like they're in this local environment. They're not. They don't even know they're alive. They're not exploring. You know what exploring looks like. You've seen kids do it. Like, you've seen kids exploring. I explored the canals for days and days when I was a kid. I explored and dug holes and everything. Made jumps for the bikes, you know? Visited neighbors. Terrorized the neighborhood. All these things. That's the one thing that you're not taught to do. To experientially explore your local environment and see what it feels like. See what it feels like without mentalizing it. You'll be the only one doing it. You'll be lonely among a lot of people because they're all gonna be like glazed, you know, glassy-eyed, thinking about point B or point A or some combination of the two. And the reason I brought this topic up was because I was, for some reason, thinking about the Earth thing, our solar system. It's silly, okay? It's just silly. But you've never seen the Earth. Ever. Unless you're an astronaut. You've never seen the Earth, okay? You've seen this little itty-bitty spot that you're on. You've never seen stars, you've never seen planets. You see little dots of light somewhere up above. Okay, all this other stuff, what you call planets, what you call the Earth, what you call the sun, outside of what you see when you're simply standing here with your own eyeballs, outside of that, it's all made up. Even this idea of the Earth being a ball is completely made up. It's never ever seen. You're always seeing maybe 5 miles worth of land extending out. If you're up on a hill, maybe you can see further. Maybe you can see 20 miles, 30 miles, I don't know. You've never seen the ball unless you're an astronaut. Otherwise, you're looking at pictures either real or fabricated. Or you're looking at a mental image of something that you remembered. That's why I'm stressing the importance of exploring your local environment, because you don't need to have knowledge of the cosmos or knowledge of the true shape of the Earth in order to explore your local environment. Your local environment is just what's available to you via, say, your car, your legs, your eyeballs, your ears, your senses, you know, your feel, your nose, all these things, right? And you can apply a mind to it if you want to, you don't have to. That's what's available to you. The other stuff isn't even available to you. The Earth as a ball, right here and now, it's not available to you at all. It just isn't. It's not even, the Earth as flat isn't even available to you. You don't have enough information to make any statements about that, one way or the other. You don't have it. To me, just thinking about it, the idea that it's a simulation that populates as you go totally makes sense. Completely makes sense. Does it mean it must be that? No. It means it's a nice theory. It's always the one thing that we're not doing is simply exploring. Exploring. The systems always have you off in your mind in the future and the past. They don't care about anything besides that. the mental layer is just one aspect. It's not the whole thing. Just some ranting. This is just ranting. This is not, I'm not lecturing anybody. I'm just venting a bit as I mosey along in my conveyance. Oh, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was our ideas of the cosmos, okay? It's always pictures, and when you think about yourself and what you are, okay, on that picture, you are a minuscule, you're not even able to be seen, you're so tiny, you see? In these, you look at a picture of the universe, okay, you section off a little, tiny little dot, and then zoom in on that dot, and you're like, okay, there's this spiral galaxy, there's our Milky Way. Then zoom in some more, and then you find, oh, there's our local solar system with 7 planets. There's the sun. Then you zoom in some more, and you find this tiny, tiny little blue-green ball. Oh, there's the Earth. Still, compared to you, that thing is massive, right? Zoom in some more. Oh, there's countries. Still, compared to you, those things are massive. You have not appeared yet, right? So finally, you zoom in, and then you get, oh, there are people. I see. There's finally people have come into the picture, and then you can go find yourself, theoretically, okay? Not even literally. So this is all mental stuff. And contrast that with your current experience. Look at the situation. Your body fills up half the picture. Half. Even what you see with your eyes, as far as sensory input, it's not even half. You're seeing like a spotlight that's going like this, and everything to the top, to the sides, aside from peripheral vision, back is completely dark, right? Until you look around, but then you're just moving your spotlight. You yourself are taking up a huge portion of your existence. You're basically a giant. Until you start doing all this perspective, and you're like, okay, the cars over there aren't tiny things, they're far away. You see, you start adding the conceptual overlay onto it. And the digiform, the 2D digiform landscape, lifescape that you're in the middle of, all of a sudden becomes 3D life, right? With depth. Whereas before, it didn't necessarily have to have depth. Maybe all of this is sitting on your eyeball, like lOuD is talking about. It's all directly hinging and dependent on you yourself. You're always at the center of it. Each individual person is at the center of their universe, literally. All this other stuff, these pictures of galaxies, pictures of suns, pictures of stars, that's all nonsense, okay? It's pictures. You have only ever been in one spot. That's been in your body, which has always remained at the center of your world. Always. That's the still spot, is your body. That's your 0 point. It's yourself. Whoever taught you that? Did you learn that in school? No. And it's not, it's not like, oh, this is groundbreaking news to some people. It's not. This is stuff everybody knows. It's just that it's part of the knowledge that isn't given to the masses. And there are, even beyond that, like what I'm saying here is it's like Mystery School 101 or something. It's not even mystery school. It's a nothing. This is what you find out with your own self-senses if you look into the situation without burying your nose in one of the pre-approved education courses. You find out for yourself. It's simple. Again, just ranting. This is not important information. Anybody can find any of this stuff out by simply looking with their own eyeballs and their own 5 senses. This is not groundbreaking news. And it's just kind of food for thought, and again, a bit of a rant while I take a break from digging for gold, as quasi-luminous, aka Satan, would call it. You're either mining for worthless gold, or you're spilling up your blood for the benefit of all the whole, to bring heaven on earth. Quasi-luminous is quite a character. Blood over intent is, there's so much out there to do something with. Once you like step one step outside of the sheeple, sleeple thing, it's like the whole thing goes bang. But at the same time, it's all simple, very simple, but like infinite exploration. So go explore your local environment while I earn fake money and stuff.